Hi, this is Katie Weeks, your independent, close to my heart maker, and today I'm going to show you 5 different things that you can do with your color stamp pads besides just stamp an image. The first one is called the Bouquet Technique, and you'll see that I'm going in with several different colors to just make random areas on my cardstock. I'm starting with lemonade, I believe, and then I'm going to use some smoothie and some peacock, and I'm just randomly putting them on with my sponges. I used our round sponge like you see in the top right hand corner, and I cut it into 6 wedges, and I actually put binder clips on them. You can see that off to the side on some of them, and I keep just a big tin full of these clips with sponges on them, and it helps keep my fingers from getting so inky when I'm trying to sponge on my cardstock. So I go around with several of those, and then I made a stencil with our stenciling film that we sell in the core catalog, and I cut with our circle die cuts and cut 3 different sizes of circles. Okay, so here I'm heat setting that ink because I want to make sure it's really super dry. And then I am going to go in with my pigment White Daisy stamp pad, and I'm cutting up another sponge so I can get another wedge. I usually get about 6 to 8 of these out of each sponge, so they're very reasonable. Like, they're not even $2 for that sponge. And I'm going in and I am going to take my White Daisy stamp pad, pigment stamp pad, and I'm going to sponge through that stencil and give these white like bubbles and ink those over top. And this ink sits on top of that other ink colors that I already have down. And there's an example of one that I've already finished. I added some shimmer trim and stamped some things to coordinate. Now the next one is the Ombre Technique, and this one I just couldn't resist using some of our distressed oxides. So there's an example of one that I did earlier, and now I'm going to use 3 different colors this time. So I go in and I blend with those sponges, and I add the first color, and then I add the second color, and then I go back in between and I blend those 2 colors together. Then I add the third color. You can see I'm using a Post-it note for my fingers so that I don't get fingerprints on there. Once I get them blended just right, I go ahead and heat set it with my heating tool and heat set that, and then I stamp in my black archival ink, and I kind of let that sit there for a minute so the ink could sit in. You'll see that finished card in a little bit after this next one. So the random stamping technique, I just did some of the leaf and floral stamps off of that stamp set you see up in the corner. I think it's Funny Farm, and I did it in a triangle. So I did one image, then another, and I just kept rotating it so that I was making triangles out of the images. So I'd find where I wanted it, and you'll see me put down some of the images, but I don't make you sit and watch all of these. I did add flowers on the tops of some of these leafy stems. I did them in a couple different colors, and I really like how it turned out. And sometimes you think, I'm not sure if this is working, but then once you fill it all in and you look at the finished one, it really did fill in nicely. I always start with my largest image, and then I work my way down to my smallest images, and I do the triangles with all of these. I just keep going in triangles. So there's the one on the left, and you see I did spritz it with water and with shimmer brush, and then the one on the right with the random stamping. Okay, next is the tone on tone edging technique. And there's nothing too special about this. I mean, you can use darker tones of what we have for a cardstock. You can do it on the lighter side or the darker side. You see here I have one that has the little pendant edge, and I folded it in half so that I could do it. I either rubbed it along the edge with a stamp pad, I kind of rubbed it through, or I used a sponge. And this last one is the smooshing technique, and this one is just fun. So I take my stamp pad, I smush it onto my all-purpose mat, I spritz it with water, and then I take some plastic packaging and I just smush it into the ink and put it all over my cardstock. And I used probably 2 or 3 different colors here. Sometimes when I get to the end, I even turn my cardstock over and put it into what's left on my mat. And then I generally clean it before I do another color. And I just keep adding colors and layering them on. And it's just really kind of fun, and you can't mess it up. There's no rules. And I just wipe that mat off with a baby wipe. That's about the only thing I use baby wipes for in my craft room. I made this go at an angle up and to the right is what I was explaining there. And here's an example of a finished one. And I went from one page over to the other on that one. And here's a finished product with the tone-on-tone and the smooshing technique, all in one, just on one layout. As always, I want to thank you for joining me today. I would really appreciate if you could give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Also, subscribe to the channel and ring that bell so that you can turn on all of the notifications and find out every time that I upload a new video. And then if you would do me a solid and go ahead and comment or even share this video with your crafty friends, I would really appreciate it. Thanks. Have a great day.